learn that they were going to get to a member team. There was no visible fear. They simply attacked this challenge with a vengeance and never stopped moving. So it is truly my privilege this morning to introduce Michigan Center High School senior Brandon Caruso and Grass Lake High School senior Morgan Bell.
Good morning, I'm Morgan Bell.
And I'm Brandon Caruso.
And welcome to
Our Living Room.
We've all been there. The long wait, the anticipation, and the frustration knowing that you can be in 1,000 different places rather than here. As you can tell by Brandon's face, you can tell what he's thinking. He's clearly disappointed, annoyed, and wants to go home. We've been doing research at American One on the atmosphere and some members, and sadly, we've seen some act this way. What we are trying to do is change how the members feel. We want them to feel more comfortable and at home. We want it to be like this. As you can tell by Brendan's face now, he is at ease, happy to be here and comfortable. What changed, you asked? The atmosphere. It's definitely a more relaxing environment, almost like how you feel when you're at home. Welcome to Our Living Room.
The mission of American One Credit Union is to provide the best personal financial services to members of the credit union at the lowest cost and highest return, consistent with their resources. From extensive discussion with credit union management, it is evident that they believe in this mission. It truly guides them in every decision.
Which takes us to our driving question. How can American One Credit Union increase enjoyment, comfort, and efficiency of their member experience at the home and North Street locations?
American One strives to keep their business costs down so that they can be in a better position to assist their members into meeting their financial goals. American One is also devoted to building relationships with each member. Keeping this in mind, our vision of this challenge became the American Living Room.
In order to get a tighter grasp of our driving question, we found ourselves doing a good amount of research into financial institutions and processes. After talking with both branch managers at both locations, we learned quite a bit about American One. American One wants to honor their members by providing them with the most resources, a warm and home-like atmosphere, while trying to lower the time that they spend in the building so they can get in and out as quickly as possible. However, they want to take the time to develop a relationship with each member that they work with.
When manager Jake Johnson from the North Street branch conducted a mock account opening and loan, he took the time with us and taught us quite a bit about finances. It was obvious to us that members' time and care was very important to American One employees.
On day 2, we went to various different banks and credit unions around Jackson and got a tighter grasp of waiting room expectations and hospitality and decor. We applied our observations to help guide our ideas for creating a more enjoyable, comfortable, and efficient experience at our 2 branches.
We also spoke with many members of both branches and conducted surveys to find the perception of the waiting area and experience. The survey included 5 questions regarding wait time, atmosphere, and perception of the waiting area. From these conversations and surveys, the 2 leading comments from members were to make wait time less stressful and to have a wider variety of refreshments available. These were the comments we kept in mind as we began formulating our strategic plan.
We approached a strategic plan from SMART goals that were specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and time-based. We quickly discovered that the first issue that we would come across is that American One was in the very early stages of formulating their ideas. Therefore, there was no suggestion for time schedules or budget. In order to overcome this issue, in order to write SMART goals, we designed our plan around 3 phases.
Phase 1 were options that were simple, inexpensive, and quick to implement. Phase 2 were items that would need more planning and were more costly. It was also based on analyzing the long-term effects of not implementing the item. Lastly, Phase 3 were items that would need the most planning and were the most costly, but are not as crucial.
Keeping the space system in mind, let's take a look at our first location, home branch. We first began brainstorming with a SWOT analysis of the home branch. If you turn to page 5, you will see some of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the branch. Some of our findings were that the teller desk is very appealing and approachable, while, however, the reception desk itself was not. Being an older facility, there are many opportunities that stood out to us. For example, something as easy as repainting can go a long ways and brighten up the building. A threat that stood out to me, the members, and even the employees was that it has a very warm room temperature inside.
One other strength that we saw at this branch is that they had a designated room for children, but we also saw it as a threat because the children's area was too far from the waiting area and only had one chair for a parent. It was hard to locate and it was a little dingy. We used the SWOT analysis and member surveys to lay the groundwork of our SMART goals. Our main focus was to offer as many options and ideas so that American One could pick and choose what they wish to apply. In our allotted time, we couldn't possibly discuss every idea we developed, so here are a few.
First, the children's area grabbed our attention the most and inspired a lot of ideas for improvement. As you can see, it's a little dingy like we said. It needs what we call a facelift. The room already has some positives, like books to read, a slide, and trucks for little ones to play with. So phase 1 will start by simply adding coloring books and crayons, also providing handheld brain teasers for older kids. Phase 2 will take a bit more planning and expenditure for shampooing the carpet and painting the walls. Then we would like to add more of the fun fixtures, such as wall decals, a chalkboard that engages young children, and adding colorful floor mats that brighten as well as cushion the floor.
Second, rearranging the lobby. What we found that was most difficult is the giant 2-ton car in the middle of the lobby that we had to work around. The other big issue was the position of the current waiting area in relation to the credit union work employee stations and the children's lobby. As we were observing, we heard one employee joke as he was waiting for his next member. He said, "Hey, I couldn't find you. You were hiding behind the corner." This shows that this is a concern that the waiting area is somewhat hidden from view. We developed an idea that rearranging the lobby would help solve these issues and help create a feeling of a living room.
First, we believe that we should have a small area of chairs outside the children's room so it could help parents supervise their children without having to sit in an intentionally loud and small area.
Second, we would like to create a warm and inviting area between the teller desk and the reception desk. The current line for the tellers would be moved to the south portion of the lobby and weave around any vehicle that they might have on display. This would put all the waiting members in view of the credit union employees, increasing efficiency in finding each member. Designing a waiting area around the idea of a living room would increase each member's enjoyment and comfort.
As challenging as it was answering this question for this branch, we also would apply this question to another branch and begin that challenge also with a SWOT analysis. As you see on page 12, according to our analysis, North Street's strengths are that it is a bright, more modern facility that possesses a warm and comfortable atmosphere. Our weaknesses and opportunities tend more towards the nitpicky, such as lack of music and lack of window treatments. As you recall, American One truly wants to meet the needs of its members and build relationships. North Street's biggest challenge is that it only has 5 workstations for personnel to meet with members. There can easily be times where each employee is working with the members, forcing others to wait. The only way to overcome this issue is to add workstations.
This would be possible by taking the existing waiting area and building 2 additional cubicles and moving the current waiting area to the center of the lobby next to the hospitality stand. Luckily, the research for this process has already begun and simply needs to be budgeted. Now there were a few things that we noticed that could be applied to both branches. The first has to deal with community involvement. American One believes in supporting and giving back to the community and hosts numerous events throughout the year. We believe that there's a great opportunity to showcase this with a community board containing pictures from various events. Here's a small sample of what that could look like.
Another opportunity found on page 16 in Appendix D that could be increased to increase members' enjoyment is a closed-circuit TV programming. While the current slideshow is somewhat informative and a trivia question strives to be entertaining, overall the program is extremely short, about 5 slides, which that is a lot of viewing repetition for someone who's waiting more than several minutes. Our solution to this was to create a sample slideshow to illustrate a more engaging and entertaining video. Here's a sped-up sample of that slideshow that I designed. I wanted to highlight American One's presence in the community with pictures from their events, then inform viewers of upcoming and current events, and lastly, liven it up with more trivia and fun facts to add to the enjoyment of viewing. reaching the end of this presentation, you might be wondering, how much is all of this going to cost?
Well, if you turn to page 19, you'll see the cost analysis of both branches. There is the grand total cost of each phase that we plan on implementing, as well as the combined total. So, to sum it up, how can American One Credit Union increase its enjoyment, comfort, and efficiency of their member experience at their home and North Street locations? As you can hopefully see, both branches have both locations have strengths, but also a few opportunities that are fairly easily addressed. When the opportunities are met, American One's ability to build a relationship with members in a warm and home-like atmosphere can become true. American One can make you feel at home. Welcome to our living room.
I forgot to give the judges a heads up and remind you that you can have the opportunity to ask questions. So as you prepare your questions, I have to also tell everybody out there, you're the observers, you're the cheerleaders. No yelling, no screaming. Clap appropriately. But each team will be presenting to the panel of judges. And so there may be things that you are not privy to. For example, the business plans. And then as the students just distributed a display board that they plan to share. So I'm glad you're here to watch. But you're not going to see every detail. So I'm going to turn this over to the judges. Is there one of you that already wants to speak first, ask a question first? Dan.
When you guys met after your project, when you met back with American One, was there any of these things that they wanted immediately to implement of your ideas?
It took more of planning and for them to understand what we were implementing. So we won't know if they're going to implement our ideas yet, but now that we presented them, they might.
Any other questions that you'd like to ask?
So what did you guys learn from this? Like, was there anything that you didn't know before that you came out of it and said, that's something new that I never would have known before about the banking industry or something of that nature?
Probably the background noise. When you watch a movie, you don't see all the time that's put behind it. So I really got to see the managers and how they work with customers and members, and see, how much time and energy goes into everything. You don't just walk in and get things handed to you. There's a whole process that goes with it. So
I learned that American One truly